Thank you so much, Ciara. Welcome, everybody. We have about 20 minutes to cover quite a bit of detail, and today we're going to be looking at the digital divide that exists between the proverbial haves and have-nots in terms of access to the internet. But more importantly for this conversation, we'll be looking at the role of energy and perhaps access to the societies that we live in and dwell in and those that we try to create. So this morning, allow me to introduce Mansour Hamayan, the CEO and founder of Bbox, which is, I might describe it as a solar energy company, but it seems to be a lot more than just a technology company. So we'll get into the detail very quickly, but first I'd like to invite Mansour to introduce himself.
Sure. So my name is Mansour Hamayan. I'm the CEO of Bbox. We are a company dedicated towards solving the problem of rural electrification. The big problem is that 1.4 billion people around the world do not have any access to electricity. And that is something that we as a company consider fundamental to ensuring an acceptable quality of life. And as a company, I will go into more detail. We have already electrified 70,000 households, installed 2 megawatts of solar, and growing at a rate of around 200 systems a day now. In terms of structure as well, we are based out of London, main operations in Kenya and Rwanda. And I'm sure we're going to dig into the further details later in the talk.
Yeah, okay, very good. So my role, if you like, is partly to facilitate what I think you may be wondering and wanting to ask. So if there are immediate questions, please, let's not wait till the very end. Feel free to, raise the hand and we'll bring them in. So my role, if you like, is to facilitate that, sure, but also to try and explore the areas of importance for our society, our technology issues right now as well. So we had a video lined up just to quickly give an immediate impression what Bbox does, but then also hopefully to prize open some thoughts and reactions from you as well. Thanks a million.
Amaina gange ninze Bintu Florence, ndi mukyalo omufumbo, nvuyira Mawoito, Bubiro East. Mbaire nga ndi mukyalo omulimi, mbaire nga ndi Maduuma, nalimako ebikado, nalimako ebidandaali, bintu bingi byembaire nima. Aye nalima ebikado, naida nabitundamu, bwe nabitundamu, najja mu mafarini, nagulayo sola eno nagireeta wano ntandika okola bizinensi wano mu maka gange. Bwe ntandise okola bizinensi eno nina suubi nti njaganulwa mu bizinensi eno yenja okutandika okola wano. Era mbebaza imwe omwakola ki omwanguza mashini eno kubanga yenviire tebaire kumpi. Mbaire omulimi omukyalo omulimi nga nekozesa mu maka gange. Aye kyova ndi kwenda bizinensi eno esobola okola ki okuboneka nti enemerezaawo empanirira, sobola okuboneka nti ki abaana nsobola okubagira mu school fees. Nalinga nfuna obuzibu bwe nalinga nkakozesa obutaala nga nfuna obuzibu enumba omwosi gugema mubitirivu ebintu byaya munumba. Kale buti wenafunye amagundi amasanalaze gano ganambyeku ebyo ebizibu ndidi nti tibikaabaawo, tujja kubanga nga titukayisa bintu amayumba gaida kutandika okunirira ni bakasitoma wano buti batandise n'okuleeta ebintu byaibwe okutundirawo. Buti abantu baidumbira okuleeta ebintu byaibwe wano bakola twagemagana nabo basobola okuboneka nti batundira mu bintu byaibwe nga layiti eriwo ebamala obulungi. Era layiti eno enambyeku kale mbebaza ino.
Fantastic. So good immediate impression of what Bbox does. I wanted to also share anecdotally what I've just seen myself. I've just spent the last month working with volunteer organizations in Greece, partly because I couldn't find that there was an immediate and direct way to get involved with NGOs myself, which satisfied my needs. And so I thought, I'll take all my own money and I'll put my own work on pause and I will go there and I will start working independently because I couldn't seek answers via the internet. It was quite ironic. But watching some of these phones get plugged in and some of the discussion points we'll have now, I realized even then and right now in these days that, of course, you've got basic human needs and human rights, Maslow's, etc. But very quickly we move into a space where people want to be connected and be able to communicate. So I came across some great initiatives and we were involved in putting in Wi-Fi into a camp so that people can start to use WhatsApp. So what we realized is that we're going to talk a little bit about digital divides and such, but we almost immediately start to see areas where so-called disconnected or not connected yet folks are actually just as savvy or perhaps more creative than even we are. So we must always remain a bit humble and open to the ideas that may well come from Africa and other parts of the world. But we have to realize that phones and solar energy issues are very much a global issue, not just restricted to or limited to the so-called digital classes. Okay, so as we move into this notion of solar energy and even the societies we talk about, I'd like to ask you actually, Mansour, what sort of resistances have you had in setting up Bbox and what kind of motivations have you had on your journey so far? And of course, in the time ahead, we'll be looking at what are the challenges and opportunities you see too. But for now, what do you think was the biggest motivation in you starting Bbox?
I think that in one line, really, it's about treating the class of customers that we have as customers. They were traditionally treated as beneficiaries. They were treated as elements of charity. What we wanted to prove was that it actually is possible to create a for-profit business that results in value for all the stakeholders, including the customers. And that we proved by technology, the fact that we are able to deliver a lower cost energy solution to our customers who on average spend between $5 and $20 a month on kerosene, candle, phones for batteries for phone charging, batteries for radio use, etc., and replace that on a monthly cost basis as low as $6 a month. So it's one of the easiest sales that you can make. And in transforming that class of customers that were traditionally treated as the unbanked, as elements of charity, to real customers, the way that we did that was by data. We are remotely monitoring each and every system. All our money is collected through mobile platform. So we're building up a wealth of information around each customer that shows the true bankability of the sector that we live in. So it's a question of perception was, I guess, the main barriers to starting this business.
And presumably you find that you marry well with similar organizations, or do you find you've had to cut your own cloth, as it were?
No, I think in some ways I like to think that Bbox was in a class in itself when we started, because there's been a genuine transition in how development is done in Africa. I think the world has gone from direct aid to more of an enterprise or business orientated solutions. And more importantly as well, the ecosystem around those type of approaches to the market got developed as well. I mean, we're lucky enough to have Dune Foundation as one of our earliest investors in the company. And those are the type of people that actually enabled us to really take pure commercial capital in play and make the unbanked banked. And as a thesis of that, it really is that we managed to do our first asset-backed securitization last year, completely off balance sheet with commercial investors. And that is unthinkable. It was for the first time in the history, in our industry, in our space, that anyone did that. And that is only driven by the fact that we collected and monitored so much data that we could monetize on its outcome.
Right, okay. And so what would the current status be of that type of discussion, and what's in the pipeline? What might the next challenge be?
Sure, there are many challenges. I think, let's just put things in context here. There's 1.4 billion people that have no electricity whatsoever. So every day we're giving people electricity for the first time since the dawn of mankind. Actually, we're doing that 1,000 times a day. So that is a challenge in itself. How can we actually maintain quality and service as we scale up, as we add more and more people to electricity? Further, 2 billion people around the planet have unreliable access to power. I'm sure that's some experience that many of you would be familiar with your travels around the world as well. So I think the scale of the problem is enormous, and the amount of investment required is even more enormous. So in terms of having systems and approaches in place that can scalably solve this solution is going to be the single largest challenge of overcoming the energy access question, and ultimately what I like to think about as solving the question about how to ensure an acceptable quality of life at scale. And that can only be done in a way that is a for-profit model.
Yeah. And do you feel that the initiative is supported? Do you feel there's enough regulatory or governmental support?
No, I think we still live in the shadows. Most people don't even realize what we do is possible. That most people don't even realize that the mobile money, cloud CRM systems, the development in the supply chain in renewable energy and batteries, they've improved to a degree that we can actually deliver products in rural Africa in a profitable way with IRRs in excess of 30%. That is an unknown fact. I think when people wake up to the opportunity that this is actually not a sector where it requires handouts, but it's a sector where everyone can make money. And I say that very bluntly, because for this to work at scale and to solve the problem, everyone needs to make money. The customer needs to make a saving, the investors need to make a money, and the companies operating in the space need to make money to take the type of risk required to solve the problem. And that is, I think, the big hidden opportunity.
Yeah.
People haven't woken up to what I think will become one of the most defining industries of our generation, that the fact that we will bring another 1/3 of mankind into the digital world.
Yeah. So obviously, on a moral ground, it's a noble cause. But where do you see those new heroes coming from? You said you're very much still emerging from the shadows. Where do you see these new heroes emerging from?
I think there's already heroes there. I think that they might not be known. I mean, we have large-scale investors as well, like Vinod Khosla, legendary Silicon Valley investors are already put money into us. The big guys are waking up. They're seeing that there's an opportunity here. I think the true heroes, in my opinion, are going to be the people that actually manage the customer service, the distribution, the local agents, the local technicians, the local call center, the workforce. For me, those are the true solar heroes of this story. In some ways, we're not just creating a new class of customers, we're creating a new class of employment. Often the places that we go, in Rwanda and Kenya, we wholly own our own retail network. We are the first formal employer that there's ever been. So the fact that we actually are able to drive not just job creation in a formal way, but also give people customer service. Just to tell you a funny thing, we have a call center in both Kenya and Rwanda. And we were really proud when we set it up. So customers can call and complain and say, why is my electricity off, or whatever the problems are. So we do a monthly survey. So initially, people were super happy about the call center. But suddenly, we started detecting first world problems, as I like to call it. The waiting time is too long. And my ultimate favorite is that the music on the call center is not good enough. So I was genuinely proud that we have been able to deliver this problem to rural Africa. I want to reply back to his customer, welcome to my world. So that is something I find extremely exciting. That is actually even possible to do.
Yeah. And how many years have you been in operation so far?
So, I've been in the sector since I was 18 years old. I'm 27 now. So that's 9 years. But as a business, I've done it for 6 years. Initially, I actually set up a charity while I was at university. I was studying electrical engineering in London. During my second years of studies, I kind of thought to myself, what am I doing? I don't really want to design the next app or phone or processor or whatever not. And then I joked with a few friends and said that half the world does not even have electricity. And that sparked the curiosity about what is it? Is it a policy issue? Is it an economic issue or whatever not? And I think, touching upon an earlier point as well, having gone through the charitable route, because that was my first inclination. That was my first thought as well. That's the way to solve this problem. I very quickly discovered that is not how you scale, and that led to the business.
Yeah. And so for the, if you like, Okay, there's a lot of existing heroes. You mentioned mainly from what sounds like the private sector, the investors, the Silicon Valley. What would your message be to some of the kids just like you, considering it wasn't long since you were a kid at 27 years of age? What would your message be to people out there who are perhaps pursuing building the hottest, latest app, but contemplating alternative ways to make a difference? Where would you send them to? What sort of places would you have been looking in the past?
In my view, like the entrepreneurs I've met in my life, they always have a why. They would not go through a struggle if there's no why, right? So I don't think our cause is any more noble than anyone other's why. Those whys are deserving to be solved. So I don't think like people should focus on Africa or this sector because they should feel better about it. That's definitely not the case. In my opinion, it's all about really find that passion because it's going to be freaking hard. Things are going to go horribly wrong. Your business plan are never going to be right. And once we have now 200 full-time employees and 300 agent network, and you realize once you cross 100 people, it becomes a Big Brother show very quickly as well. So those type of things are stuff that you need to kind of learn, and that requires the why to be very strong in your heart.
Yeah. And that's a brilliant point because it reminds me of a lot of conversations that we'll have at events like this, actually, when you have people who have a great product and they're not always articulate or fluid in why it exists or why we're even doing what we do. And if you're able to, and I suppose if you're thinking high enough, if you're able to contemplate why you're in business at all, why you're doing your role, why you're creating said product, then it can perhaps identify a social benefit. And it will help your business, but it might help you justify what you do. So the essence there is, why are we doing anything that we do, and what's the ultimate implication for any business that we like to create? Okay, so then in terms of, I guess, any Hall of Fames, you mentioned a great initiative there in Kenya with the call center. Any other kind of latest nuggets of inspiration that you've come across on your travels?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think like the most inspirational thing I see personally is just the impact of giving someone. One of the favorite things I do whenever an investor comes or someone wants to go and visit our operation is to take them on an installation, right? Just turning on the lights for the first time. There is something really magical about that. But what I do afterwards, which I don't tell customers, maybe I should, is I spy on them on their remote monitoring data afterwards. It's really interesting to see what they do the first few days. They do really normal stuff, like switching on and off lights 1,000,000 times. They clearly like showing off or doing things, right? Or like increasing the volume of the TV to max for ridiculous reasons back and forward. So it's really, and after 2-3 weeks period, totally boring. Like, totally boring. Like, they wake up at 6, they go to sleep at 10 o'clock, they tend to watch TV between 8 and 9. And then you see, like, you know what? They're no more different than me. Like, I do pretty much the same thing. And I think that's, for me, the biggest thing. Like, regardless where we go, we're all humans. And energy is just there to fulfill a set of human needs. And those needs are exactly the same regardless where we're on this planet. And that, for me, has been my personal biggest insight in doing what we've done. It's not us and them, it's us. And it is a collective problem, and that can be solved through technology, as many other problems have done throughout history.
Yeah. Well put. The last 30 seconds there started to remind me of Nikola Tesla himself. You know, the purpose of technology and all these initiatives that we have is to try and make the world a better place. So I think that on the Tesla, what do you think of the Tesla car out in the front? What are your views on, I guess, these emerging consumer electrical themes, as well as what do you think are the biggest obstacles? Because you hear mixed stories even on the internet about the role of battery power, electricity power. Is it ethical? I've heard stories this week about how we're opening new coal-based electrical stations to power electric cars, and there's a lot of misinformation circulating around. But what's your own personal view on the brilliant stuff of Tesla?
The funny thing is I bought a Tesla for a 2018 delivery because the down payment was $1,000 and it's non-refundable. It's refundable, but I don't have a driving license yet. So that's become my personal goal now, to make sure by 2018 I have the money to buy it, and more importantly, that I have a driving license as well. If not, I'll get my $1,000 back. But that's a different story. I think like I find that the common theme is very exciting, which is that batteries. Like the big thing that's happening is storage, and there's a lot of big money coming involved in this. And the type of stuff that you're developing are going to be applicable not just for off-grid customer, on-grid customer, for transportation. So we are all working to make the world a better place. We need to make storage better, and that's what I really think Tesla is driving. I don't think it's I don't know Tesla like in the internal side well, but I would guess that the car is just one of the first product where the basis is really the battery.
Yeah.
And you can already see that from the Powerwall activities and other things like that. So from that perspective, I think it's exciting to see more money flowing in.
Brilliant. And as we start to wrap up, because time gets tight, I just want to say thank you so much. Continue all the good work. Make the world a better place with our help. Tell us how to help. But what will your 3 call-outs be, or one takeaway from this? Where can we keep an eye and support your initiatives?
No, I think like going outside your comfort zone. Like, just go somewhere, meet a group of people you know nothing about. There's something magical about that. People stick in their comfort zone too much. That's something I encourage people to do in whatever way, form that you think that's necessary. That gives you ideas. The second thing I think like what people really should do is to take risk. I mean, that's something I've noticed a lot, at least in my upbringing, is that failure is a wrong thing. Actually, no, failure is the best thing that mankind or the universe ever invented. That's the thing that drives us forward. Aim to fail, because if you're not failing in some ways, you're not trying. Like that's something I feel quite stuck up with the younger people. I tell this to my friends all the time. They think I'm crazy, but just take risk. Like go and start a business in Congo just because you can. Right? It's okay if it fails. You'll learn something. And the third thing is people. I mean, ultimately, what I've learned is like everything, you can make anything happen on this planet if you do this magical one formula, which is you identify a set of people and you need to make them say the magical word yes. Literally, you can make anything on the planet happen by this thing. You just have to know who to talk to, put them in series, and make sure that they all say yes. That's the 3 things I've learned that I think a lot of people could benefit from, in my opinion.
Fantastic. So, big yes of a round of applause for Mansoor. Thank you so much. And one final question. One final question for Mansoor. Where are you off to? What's your immediate 6 weeks like? Where are you off to next? Back to London?
I'm in London, then I'm going to China, then I'm going to Rwanda, and then I'm going to Kenya, and then I'm going back to London. So
keep an eye on Twitter and see where he ends up next. Thanks again. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.